Friday show. The man behind that song is sitting in our studio right now. Please say hello to Tom Morello. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Tom Morello is here. What's going on,
everybody? Thank you for being
everybody?
here, and thank you for all of the music you've given us. Whenever we have Rage on KROQ, it just instantly puts us in better moods right away.
It gets your blood flowing, no
It
matter
sure does.
what.
And I was wondering, because of all the years, you've heard your music, obviously. Athletes will use it to
Sure.
hype them up.
Sure.
You'll hear them just... and if it's an athlete you don't like or someone you don't like, but it's your song and you like it, what do you, just pretend it didn't happen? Or
No. I think I have always enjoyed that the great music casts a wide net.
Yeah.
And then some people will listen to it that it really, it may change their mind about things. Other people's listen to it and they may just pump iron to it, and God bless them.
I've said for a while, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, that you in some ways I feel like are like the Bob Dylan of our generation. And I say that because you have used music to spread messages that are much, I think, sometimes bigger than the songs themselves.
Sure.
And does that put a pressure on you where I think a lot of people are going, how do I write a hit song? And it's more about writing a hit song. And I think you've always been, at least it seems like, you're more about, I want the message to be more important.
I'm now 21, 22 albums in to a career, between Rage, Audio Slave, my solo stuff, a couple records with Bruce Springsteen. And, from a very early age, I self-identified both as an activist and as a guitar player. And so trying to find a way to weave those two together has been the challenge. It's not like pressure, I've got to be involved in a song about something that's going on, in the newspaper today. It's a pressure about staying, which frankly, my North Star hasn't changed much since I was 17 years old. Mm-hmm. And so that's pretty easy to do. And even from the earliest days of Rage Against the Machine, it's great to sell records, but I've made some of the records I'm most proud of are ones that have sold a fraction of the Rage records, where it's just truly what I believe in my art and in my music in that moment.
But there are some times where I'm sure you've felt challenged when it comes to, sticking to your values, like the whole thing on SNL about getting locked into that room by security because, it was like Forbes was hosting and, he's a Republican and you're very, you're very open about your stance. So, those moments I'm sure have made you question your own conviction and going, hey, maybe I should lay off.
Oh,
Did you ever
no.
feel?
Never once. Not once in my life. My heroes growing up were not just Eddie Van Halen and the Clash. They were the Black Panther Party,
right.
And Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and some of those 60s radicals and global. My mom was involved in the Kenya's liberation movement. So the idea that you'd be intimidated to change your opinion, it never entered my mind. I will tell you the one of the most important things that ever happened in my musical career was failure. I was in a band called Lockup before Rage Against the Machine. We're on Geffen Records, right? And we did, I was 22, 23, and they were they were the experts. The manager they were people that had been involved in hit records.
And Guns N' Roses.
Right. And so people had a lot of suggestions, and the band's music, in my opinion, kind of got watered down. It was much more kind of left-leaning and alternative, and my guitar playing was the beginnings of the style that I would have, more unorthodox style I would have later in Rage Against the Machine. But we did everything they said because they were the experts, and we made a record that I wasn't particularly proud of. We got dropped 15 minutes after it came out, and that failure allowed me to. I was 27 years old, done. I had my grab at the brass ring. I had failed, and so I said, well, I'm never going to be a rock star. I'm never going to make records, but I'm still a musician, and I made a solemn vow that I was never going to play another note of music that I didn't believe in. And that's when I began writing riffs that would be my contribution to the first Rage record.
What was the plan B job? So when you accepted it, in your head, all right, well, this rock and roll thing ain't going to work because we got dropped. And even though you said I'm going to keep playing music because I love music, but did you were you going to start applying for jobs?
Well, crazily, my job was I was the scheduling secretary for a U.S. senator.
Oh,
and then I was an exotic dancer.
Whoa.
Dude, that's a moneymaker.
Well, the rent is not going to pay itself.
That's right.
You know what I mean? In either case. But I worked for Senator Alan Cranston, and it was, people sometimes go have you ever thought about going into public office? Oh, hell no, because I've seen how the sausage is made, and it's worse than you could possibly imagine.
So the sausage was made as an exotic dancer as well.
Yeah, that's right. That was his name. Yeah. The sausage is made. It's very popular. Tom Morello is hanging out in KROQ right now, but we'll be doing two shows. Both will be benefiting Fire Relief. House of Blues, that'll be happening on Thursday in Anaheim. Yep. And then, of course, the Fonda Theater with special guests. That's happening on Friday, February 7th. you have played obviously many shows in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and now you're going to these smaller venues, and this is Tom Morello doing it your way, no band.
Sure. Oh, no, there's a band. This is like,
but it's you.
No,
it's
no blockbuster.
And as a result,
band.
it's a small, intimate setting where you get to really see the faces of pretty much all the people there.
Yeah.
How does that change for you?
Yeah. Like, honestly, like, if I love playing the huge festival shows, whether it's on my own or with the bands I've been in. And then in a venue like that, like my job, I think, is a very simple one. It's on that night in that room to create a little bit of the world that you'd like to one day see. That's it. You know what I mean? That you connect. And also, like, I feel like in a lot of ways, like I'm carrying the torch. Like, Audioslave is not around. Rage Against the Machine is not around. Those fans and those songs are ones that I honor in the show, as well as like my solo stuff too. And then the LA shows are always about, like we did a show at the benefit for Jail Guitar Doors and a memorial for Wayne Kramer of the MC5 who passed recently. He was a good friend. And so I always just sort of like go through my phone and like see who's in town on that night. And it was RZA from Wu-Tang, and it was Chuck D from Public Enemy. It was one of the Marleys. It was Ben Harper and Little Steven from the E Street Band. So at these shows, there's likely going to be some surprise guests that are going to be pretty awesome.
Is your son going to be one of the surprise guests?
Roman Morello will be present and accounted for. He is now, I have been relegated. I am now the rhythm guitar player in the Morello family, as my 13-year-old is shining bright.
This is the first time that you guys were kind of touring together, right? So was he like, Dad, get into my dressing room? Like, what was the relationship like?
He toured with me last summer. We've done a couple of songs together. One is Soldier in the Army of Love, which he wrote the riff from.
We're going to listen to this, by the way, in a second. If you haven't heard it yet. It's a great song.
And then he wrote the music for the theme song for the movie Venom, like the end title for that. Anyway, he's very talented. It's not nepotism if your kid's that effing good, is the way that I look at it.
And but your goal now is to ride on his coattails for the next 10 years,
I sit outside of his door and I'm like, I want that riff.
Does he get an allowance?
He does always ask at these events, like, how much am I getting paid? And I said, your room and board will continue.
Yeah. And then I'll tell you later on how much you actually made.
Soldier in the Army of Love is a song that is going to be on an album that we were promised would be coming in the year 2025. We are in the year 2025 now. That's so vague because in my mind, I mean January 1st, 2025, we're getting a new Tom Morello album. But at some point this year, still 2025 is the year.
Like, this is like, of all the this is like the first real Tom Morello solo rock album. There will be some guests on it, but it's basically going to be a lot, the sort of the twin goalposts are the Morellian riffage of Rage and Audioslave, and then sort of my love of like Bruce Springsteen's Darkness on the Edge of Town, somewhere between those two goalposts.
We're going to listen to this right now, Soldier in the Army of Love. If you hear the guitar and you say, that's great, that is not Tom. I want to point that out. That is his son.
That's right.
Tom is on this as well.
He's just keeping the rhythm.
He's just keeping it going. When we get back, if you have anything you'd like to rage again, we do this thing on the show called 10 Seconds of Rage. We do it. We always think people have a little bit of air they got to let out of the balloon so they don't blow up.
Oh, dear.
Do you want anything you want to rage against? About? Could be something big, something small. Call us now, 800-520-1067. Our favorite rager will get themselves tickets to the show happening at the Fonda Theater with Tom Morello and special guest on Friday, February 7th. Here is Tom Morello and his son in the Army of Love on KROQ.
Klein Alley, Klein Alley Show.
KROQ, the world famous KROQ. KROQ.
Tom Morello on KROQ, Soldier in the Army of Love. Hell yeah, Tom.
There you have it.
Well done. I understand why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame decided to make you a member. and then you get to decide who gets to get in next. I mean, you get to give your input, right?
I get my input.
And do they listen to you as they should?
I don't get to decide who gets in next. I'm on the committee that makes the ballot every year. So there's a lot of infighting in the room. Then a ballot goes out to a wider votership, and they decide who gets in.
For 2025, I know there are some new bands that are eligible now, like Linkin Park and Sum 41 and things like that. Do you take those into consideration, the newly eligible? Because I know you've also had like a case for Iron Maiden for a while.
Iron Maiden is the one where, like, I had, when they made the mistake of letting me in the room to plead my case, I had like a hit list of bands, and I was so outraged that they weren't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We've checked off a lot of those boxes through the years, and Iron Maiden is still at the top of the list.
And do any of the bands give you a kickback and say, "Hey, thanks for"?
No, I mean a lot, because a lot of it's sort of like rehabilitating the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Because like if you're like a little league baseball player, you dream of one day having a career where you would be in the Major League Hall of Fame. As a rocker, that's not how kids who play like hard rock looked at the Rock and Roll Hall of
Right.
Fame. So a lot of it's sort of rehabilitating, but by getting, from Kiss to Judas Priest to Randy Rhoads to Stevie Ray Vaughan to Rush, all those bands were not in before.
Has anyone
they are now.
tried to ask, hey, put a good word in for me? Here's an edible arrangement from Mike Shinoda.
Not artists, but there's a lot of managers and folks. Yeah,
I would imagine
come sniffing around.
Hey, you need a watch? What do you need? Do guitar? People are on the phone now. They'd love to rage for you. Of course, up for grabs. We have tickets to go see Tom Morello at the Fonda Theater. Show happening on the 7th, although we do have a lot of listeners in Anaheim as well, so you can catch Tom Morello at the House of Blues Anaheim on the 6th. That is next Thursday. And as you know, raging is sometimes about important things in the world, equality, and, but every once in a while people have things that are a little bit more petty they'd like to rage against. So they'll have 10 seconds. You will help us determine who is the best rager, and they will get some tickets. We'll start with Matt. Matt, what is your issue? You're on with the great Tom Morello.
Morning, guys. Morning, Tom.
Good morning.
I just wanted to come in and just rage about the fact that Costco ditched the churro for their pretty meh cookies.
Okay.
Is that all you got?
I'm just pretty mad about that. Yeah.
You're mad about the churro going away at Costco.
I love the churro, yeah.
All right.
Well, everyone has a cause,
Well,
right, Tom?
there's a lot of problems in the world. We'll add that one to the
That
list.
is number one. Number one. Aaron, 10 seconds to rage to Tom Morello. Go ahead.
Is slow walkers. They see you coming and you have to stop and they take their time. Like, dude, I just waited already. Like, your time's up. The hands up.
Slow walkers.
Like, it's so mad.
Slow walkers.
People
Tom.
who are walkers. Are you a slow walker?
People are calling in. They really have this. Okay, this is an interesting.
These are things that fire people
I
up.
would say this is an interesting segment.
Yeah. Tom's going to rage against the segment in general. Nora, you have 10 seconds. Go.
I'm raging about people that get on the fast track and don't fast track their asses to work. I'm paying for the fast track to go faster, and yet I'm going along with the rest of the freaking traffic because this dummy in front of me is not going fast on the fast track.
That's good rage right there.
Yeah, there you
She's
have
fired
it.
up.
So churros and the speed at which you're going to the next place are the top two contenders right now.
Those are the big ones, I would say.
Yeah.
Alex, we give 2 more people a chance to rage, and then Tom is very busy. This guy's in a
I
lot.
got to tell you, I'm not feeling my tickets going to anybody so far. Let's up the ante.
Alex,
folks.
go ahead. Go ahead. We got tickets on the line.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, Tom. I'm raging against my boss, Tony, for always complaining that I'm doing too much work and showing to work early just to do my job just because he doesn't know how to do his own job himself, and I call him out on it every day.
I'm feeling that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a little workers' rights issue there. You're now getting a little bit closer to my wheelhouse.
See, Tom,
Yeah.
you can sense passion.
I can.
And you can hear it
I'm
in his
against
voice.
Tony, too, so let's go. Let's see what's
anytime the boss is kind of doing that thing where you know more than the boss, but they're the boss. It's an annoying, similar to your agreement with Geffen Records,
That's correct.
right?
Yeah,
you knew
yeah,
more and you knew it going in.
Yeah.
Ruben, we give you this is really the final one to try to wow Tom Morello. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up? I just wanted to rage about all the people going to Costco and picking up all the Pokemon boxes just to scalp them and sell them for higher prices.
People are really upset with Costco.
Yeah, some scamming there.
Churros, there's a lot of people that are loading up.
Well, resellers is a very frustrating thing, though. I mean, people are making money doing actual hard work, and then there are other people that are just buying stuff and reselling it.
When you
That
see
sucks.
your tickets
That
being
happens in the
sold
ticket
for
world.
$20,000, and you're like, I would put them up for $200. That's got to make you furious.
Yeah. There's some ways to combat that, but I think we have a clear winner. It's the class warfare guy.
Okay.
The guy that it was his beef is with Tony. We've now outed Tony.
Alex, congratulations. Your boss, maybe a terrible boss, but they scored you some tickets to see Tom Morello at the Fonda Theater. You will be there on Friday night, all right?
Oh, sweet. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
You're very
You
welcome.
could even bring the boss to the show and teach him a real lesson.
You don't deserve it.
Yeah,
You don't deserve it. I love
Fair
that.
Fair enough.
Tom, congratulations. We don't need to say this on everything you've done. Thank you for everything you've done. We love listening to you on KROQ over the years. You've obviously played some of our shows over the years.
Yeah.
You know, when this new album comes out, please come back.
Of course.
So we can all talk, and you can bring your son, or maybe just bring your son at that point, right? I could take the
You won't
day,
need
right?
me anymore.
Yeah.
The baton is passed.
And, of course, for all things, we'll update it on the socials, but you better believe that when this album drops, it's going to be the best. Go to the show, support Tom Morello, House of Blues, Anaheim. And then, of course, the Fonda happening next Friday. The great Tom Morello on the world-famous KROQ.
Thank you very much, everybody.
We know you didn't ask for these videos, but you're watching them anyway, which means you truly have nothing better to do.
Yeah.
So let this be a moment where we tell you to get your life in check.
Maybe you're still listening, or maybe you've completely checked out, or you're pretending to work at your desk right now. For whatever reason, thanks for watching, and we hope you watch more.
Yeah, and if you're supposed to be doing a different job right now, this is your friendly reminder to shuffle some papers and act annoyed and do things where you go like, oh, God, I'll get to this eventually, because that's what business people do.
Is that what you think business people do?
I assume so. I've never had a real job.
All right, so click like, subscribe to this or the podcast, or you can listen to the live show where you can't see our faces, and trust me, that's a bonus.
That's right, because this is what we also look like on the radio.
We don't look different.